Stop being a cheap. For the longest time, I was probably the most frugal person that any of my friends knew. In fact, it was super bad. I had a lot of money anxiety. I never wanted to spend any money. And while that did have some benefits, I think the overall effect that it had on my 20s was limiting growth. What I mean by this is, yes, if you save money, it is good, but there definitely needs to be a balance. And I would say that I was on an extreme end where I was thinking about saving money constantly, and I was spending more mental energy on saving money than I was on actually figuring out how to make money. For example, I'd spend 15 minutes routing to a different gas station to save a few dollars on gas. It stressed me out, and I could have basically spent that energy figuring out a lot more important things. It also resulted in me, investing less into myself, taking less risks with my money, and just overall being a little bit more unpleasant to be around just due to how cheap I was. So I'd say that if you are in your 20s or 30s or whatever and you're extremely cheap, know that there are some good parts about that, but you need to tone it down. Money that's saved is money that's not being used to make money. And yeah, I know a lot of people, they'll just be like, save your money, put it in your bank accounts, don't do anything with it, invest it, whatever. But I'm here to say that you should not be a cheap. Go out there, actually use your money for things, be smart with it, and I guarantee you that's going to result in a lot of positive financial gain for you. Okay, next is stop working hard, because working hard alone is not going to make you rich. It's just going to ensure that you work a lot. I know this because I have a lot of friends. I know there's a lot of jobs out there where you can work extremely hard, but the financial gain is not there. For me, I work to make money, right? I want to work as little as possible. I want to work smart, and I want that work in exchange to pay for my life and allow me to do things that I actually want to do. The traditional school system teaches us to work really hard, and that any input of hard work results in a good amount of financial gain. And that's just not true. It sort of is true up until a certain point. But if you want to really live an untraditional, unconventional life that is extraordinary, you cannot trade your time for money always. If your goal is to get rich, you need to figure out a way to disconnect your time from how much money you make. You cannot know what your hourly rate is, because that means you're trading your time for money. And yes, you can get rich, being a high-paying doctor or lawyer or whatever it is. But in my opinion, you'll never be truly wealthy or rich because you're always having to trade your time for more money. There's only a certain amount of leverage you can have when you do a job like that. So I think your priority should be to figure out how you can work really smartly, how you can find the highest paying skills, turn that into a business, and disconnect your time from how much money you bring in. The next piece of advice is to stop listening to theorists. Basically, these are people with a ton of advice, knowledge, or a title, but no actual results. So for example, this could be like a business professor that's at a college teaching how to start a business, even though they have never done that themselves. And yes, this happens a lot. An out of shape fitness instructor, a life coach that hasn't gotten it figured out. Yeah, there's just too many people in this world that you can choose to hire or listen to, where yes, it does make sense to be selective, and you should absolutely be selective. For example, if the type of life that I live is not something that you want, and trust me, I think a lot of people don't want my life, then you should absolutely not listen to me. But if you look at my life and you think, okay, I think that's pretty cool, I want something just like that or whatever, then yes, I do think that there are some benefits in listening to what I have to say, because everything I talk about, I've done myself or I've actually put into practice. I'm not saying you can't learn anything from someone that hasn't actually done the things they're teaching, but I think there is nuance to it. I think there's less weight on information you learn from someone that isn't actually doing it.